Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
Hey, Will.
Hey, bud.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Braxton Rarudo.
Draw. There goes Braxton.
Those are Z's. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. They look like R's to me. No, keep it up. Keep it loud. Keep it up. All right. We're here. Glad you are as well. Why so abrupt? Why so abrupt? Let that thing go. The dulcet tones of Mr. Toby Tomplay. Let it breathe, Braxton. You never DJ'd, did you? You're never on the ones and twos at the club.
Nope.
That's obvious. It's very apparent. It's all good. You guys gotta let it breathe.
Gotta feel it. Feel it out.
It's a feel, man. And Ross Jackson. Do you have Ross's pivot drop? Nope. Pivot! I had to do it for you, Ross. Braxton didn't have the drop. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good. Just a heads up. I'm hearing a bunch of other sound all through here, but there we go. I'm good now.
Okay.
I'm great. I'm glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me. I don't know what was going on there.
Neither do I. I'm sitting over here, and Braxton's over there, sitting at the mothership, right there at the board, like a space shuttle with all those buttons. You never know which one you press might cause something to go haywire. Okay. Jordan Tyson. I don't like this man. Wait, let me. So, punctuation is important. Not, I don't like this man. I don't like this, man, period.
Yeah.
The whole thing about him was injuries, and now he's hurt. So, what's the deets?
Yeah, it's a little challenging. What we know so far is lower body injury. Kellen Moore did mention leg as a part of it. So obviously a lot of context there is going to leap towards the idea of the hamstring injury, which he had been dealing with coming into the season. We don't know that for sure, but, you can put two and two together in terms of an expectation, at least. Kellen Moore didn't have information at the time. There have been some reports, Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football, mentioning that he has heard that it's minor and, but less than ideal. But, none of this, we don't really know until we get the official word from the team. And so Kellen Moore said that he'll have an update for us tomorrow. For what it's worth, Jordan Tyson was able to get up and kind of jog off the field. And I think at this point, it's just worth it to be cautious around this situation and make sure that it's not something that can compound. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him for a little while, one way or another, because the Saints should play this cautious, just like they did with Kool-Aid McKinstry earlier, like they're presumed to be doing with Devon Godshaw right now. And so I think that's the way that this is going to go. But obviously, not an ideal situation for the young rookie who's been impressing here throughout training camp.
Okay. Who benefits from his absence in the interim?
I'd probably say Bryce Lance. Bryce Lance is a fourth-round pick coming out of North Dakota State University. He's now going to get a lot more exposure. I don't think we were expecting to see Jordan Tyson during Saturday's preseason game, but certainly if that was going to be the case, that will no longer be the case, and that's going to open up opportunities for guys like Bryce Lance, as well as Barryon Brown. And then I'd also put another guy in there in that conversation too, and Kevin Austin Jr., who seems to be kind of that next person behind the top five that we expect to make the roster. And so it could mean more opportunities for him come the preseason as well. So I think those are the guys that are set to be the beneficiaries there.
All right, let's talk about the one other sort of newsy item from today, which is that Spencer Rattler will start the preseason opener. Is it, I guess we can take this one of two ways, Ross, but is it more notable that Shuck isn't going to play or that Rattler is starting over? What is that beep? Sorry, I got so distracted. Is there a truck Is there a truck backing up by you?
There's a truck very far away from me. I'm shocked you can hear that. I can barely hear it in person.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, I'll focus. Or Rattler starting over the other guy that was a former number 2 pick that I can't think of because the truck beeping.
Yeah, Zach Wilson.
Wilson.
I think probably more notable that Spencer Rattler starting over Zach Wilson. Look, Kellen Moore said a few days ago that especially with all these joint practices, that we shouldn't be expecting to see starters see much action in his first preseason game. And Tyler Shuck, of course, is the starting quarterback. And so not super shocking to see him not be involved, especially after the, team ran, 90 plays up against the Jacksonville Jaguars today, of which the majority were first team reps. And so I think that the more notable part is that the fact that the Saints are kind of leaning in towards Spencer Rattler here, it shows that there is a real consideration that he is the top quarterback behind Tyler Shuck, despite all of Zach Wilson's NFL experience. That's certainly been the rhythm here so far throughout training camp. Spencer Rattler has never surrendered the second team offense at all. And, Zach Wilson took maybe a couple of snaps with what was a little bit of a blend of second and third team. But I think the thing that's most notable here is that Spencer Rattler's performance has been so convincing, and this kind of confirms that moving forward.
Did you go inside to get away from the beep?
I did. I did that for you.
My guy. What a pro. I heard the door close. It sounded like there was maybe like a shade on the door that went like whenever you closed it.
We have like a little face scanner that we have to like look up at it and wait for it to unlock the door.
See?
And so you can hear like a little click, click, and then I walk through the door. That way I got away from the beep, beep.
Look at
I made other noises, but at least it's not beep, beep.
It's not beep, beep. So now I can remember Spencer Rattler and the other guy who was drafted second overall that stunk with the Jets. Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson, NOLA, LouisianaSports.net, and Locked On Saints. Okay, how did the practice go today against Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think we saw strong things from both sides, the offense and defense. I think that this was a really important performance for the offense, though. We've been having the conversation all throughout training camp so far about whether or not the defense has been just kind of running these days or whether the offense has been struggling. And I think that what we saw with Tyler Shuck going, I had him 25 of 34 with 4 and then a 5th touchdown that, you ask any Saints offensive player, they're going to tell you that it was a touchdown despite it being signaled incomplete by the officials. But just a really good day for him, and one where he was attacking downfield too. Like those completions weren't necessarily completions that are just 5 yards down the field or dump offs and things like that. It was work. And so I think that this was a really good performance by this New Orleans Saints offense that was trying to maybe they weren't trying to answer the question, but certainly were in position to answer the question. And I think that they absolutely did that here up against Jacksonville's defense. Still a little bit too much pressure getting into the backfield, especially considering the amount of sacks that Tyler Shuck took in his 9 starts at the end of the season. But outside of that, really good performance by the offense. And then defensively, just outstanding stuff from Chase Young in particular, who estimated himself to have half a dozen sacks on the day. As I went back through and I looked at my notes.
That's a record.
Yeah, if I went back and I looked through my notes, and I don't know that I dispute it. I mean, I had 4 that were for sure and then 2 that were easily arguable. And so he could absolutely make his case for having a half a dozen sacks on the day. And so I think that he was outstanding all throughout. And then Julian Blackmon helped us set the tone early on, too, with an interception on the second play of the day. So really good performances from both sides of the ball. Still some things to work on. Red zone defense was a little shaky, but overall positive day.
You can get Ross's full write-up over at LouisianaSports.net. It's always free, LouisianaSports.net. I noticed you also highlighted Nathan Shepard, and I guess I'm guilty of this as anyone, Ross. Whenever we go through these reports, I tend to ask about, we talk about injuries, and I ask about the headliners, a guy like we just talked about with Chase Young. Are there other players on that defensive line that seem to be solidifying roles or making an impact?
Yeah, I would absolutely highlight Nathan Shepard as one of those guys. That's the right name to pull. From the moment that Brian Brzee went down for the season after that first practice, there were a lot of questions about whether or not Kristen Miller was going to be the guy to step up. But Kristen Miller has been a little bit more of like a one-tech nose tackle, while although he does move around the defensive line, don't get me wrong, but that's been sort of his kind of bread and butter. Brian Brzee is a little bit more of a 3-4 defensive end, lining up over or around the tackles as opposed to closer to the center and guard. And so that always felt like that was going to be Nathan Shepard's role. And he's stepped into that along with a few other guys. And Shepard has just been really outstanding and consistent here all throughout camp. He had kind of this showing up party last year during the Jets game. That was, of course, his former team, and really has just kept that consistency here throughout training camp. Carl Granderson's another guy that's been on a surge here recently. He's the guy that's in search of consistency. We've written some stories over at LouisianaSports.net about his season so far and how excellent he's been throughout his career in September and then December, January, but then the question marks around the October and November performance. And so that's something he has identified in his own game as a need for consistency. And we're certainly seeing consistency from him out here, whether he's dropping back into coverage, rushing from the interior as a 3-4 D end, like what we were just describing with Brian Brzee and Nathan Shepard, or of course his calling card, rushing off the edge. He's been really outstanding here as well. And then we've seen a couple of other guys that have popped, Vernon Broughton, Kristen Miller, and others on the interior. But that unit has been one that has both been plagued with injury, but also has a lot of young talent that's brimming and ready for opportunity. He's
Ross Jackson, Nola, LouisianaSports.net, where you can read him. You can listen or watch Locked On Saints. Hey, before you go, we know they're going to play on Saturday. Tomorrow, walk through what are they going to? Just a light day. Walk through anything that's notable.
Yeah, kind of a light day walkthrough in the Caesars Superdome. So that'll be a nice opportunity for some of the young guys that maybe haven't gotten the opportunity to be exposed to that yet, but they'll just get acquainted with what that is, learn where the locker room is, all these other things if they haven't seen it before, and then kind of walk through a little bit of what it is that they're planning to achieve throughout the day. And so I think that it'll give us a little bit of a glimpse as to who plays, who doesn't play. I think that'll be good. And then the other big thing that you're waiting for is that update from Kellen Moore on Jordan Tyson. But I think those are going to be the biggest things we'll walk away with tomorrow.
He is Ross Jackson. Thanks as always, man.
Thank you, bud. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right. It is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. Go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Fill out the form. They'll give you a free quote. It's super easy. Patented non-toxic dry fog. Think about what I just said. Patented. Nobody else can do it. Non-toxic, meaning it's safe for your family, plants, pets, and a dry fog, meaning it's the opposite of wet. So you don't have to worry about like pulling up carpet, cutting sheetrock, covering your furniture. It's going to get into every nook. It's a fog. It'll get into every nook and cranny, and it'll kill everything down to the spores. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in free, clear, clean, sanitized, mold-free. ParishRestoration.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Jimmy will be here in 30 minutes for Otter Locks. If you want to get Otter Locks now, you can do so online at LouisianaSports.net. Otter Locks are there, and they are free. Lane Kiffin met with reporters. He was asked about Winnie Watkins, who was absent for the third consecutive day. He gave a customary non-answer answer. But I asked Lane Kiffin today about, with the 5-for-5 ruling and the class of 2022, in theory, gaining eligibility, but Greg Sankey, and Kiffin talked about this 2 days ago, but in theory, with Greg Sankey, a day ago, updating the SEC's stance, and we could very well, within a week to 10 days, maybe have a final ruling here on the class of 2022 and their eligibility. How is Lane Kiffin and his staff going about trying to put a list together when they don't even know what players might be eligible? So I asked him that question, and you'll hear his answer next on AFR.
After Further Review.
If you're thinking of selling your home, call Darren James. Get your home sold. 335-7666. 335-7666. That's Darren's cell. Call him or text him right now, 335-7666, or go to agent225.com, agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren James obligates you to nothing. If at any point you're not thrilled, he'll let you out of the contract free and clear, no questions asked. You don't have to worry about getting stuck in a contract. But in his entire career in real estate, no one, not one customer ever, has taken him up on that offer, because Darren goes above and beyond for all of his clients. You will understand it the minute you call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666. And Darren gets results. Wall Street Journal's list the top 1% of realtors in America. He's number 13 in the country. It's unbelievable. You need to sell your home, you need Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
All right, rolling along here, 5 o'clock hour on a Thursday edition of AFR. Lane Kiffin met with reporters earlier today. And it's interesting because when Lane met with reporters on Monday, he was asked the whole 5 for 5 question. And if you're not familiar, I'll make this really, really, really simple. So high school football players from the class of 2022 who would have just finished their senior year, right, fourth-year guys, that played as freshmen that are out of eligibility. Think Harold Perkins. The new ruling, 5 for 5, means those guys would have another year of eligibility. Now, the NCAA said, no, that starts next year. Well, a judge in Colorado said, no, we're going to make it retroactive. So there's this question of who's going to win. Is it the judge who made that ruling, or is it the NCAA? Now, the injunction is still good. So you're seeing players like there was 2 starters from Arizona who rejoined Arizona, kid from Mississippi State, 2 starters from Indiana going back to Bloomington now. So as long as you didn't sign a professional contract, you can play, is what this judge said. So Lane Kiffin was asked about that on Monday, and he gave a long answer about it. Really, he said, we prepare for everything, but he gave a long answer about how those players should be able to play anywhere. Because the original ruling from the judge was that they can come back in, but there's no portal. They can come back, but they can only go back to the place where they were. That's why a lot of you have asked about guys like Bernard Gooden and Jack Pyburn and so on. But remember, Gooden was a class of 2021, so he doesn't apply. So Greg Sankey, a day ago, put out a statement effectively saying, we'll see where the court ruling goes, but we're still abiding by SEC rules and eligibility requirements and all that sort of stuff. So I asked the follow-up to Lane today so as to say, okay, there are literally thousands of college football players from the class of 2022. And now some of them are already in the NFL. Like, I'm looking at the class of 2022 right here, for example. Here you go. Walter Nolan, Travis Hunter was class of 2022, Luther Burden. Like, obviously, these guys are not coming back to college football. They're in the NFL. Sonny Styles was just a first-round pick. Michael Williams from Georgia. Harold Perkins was the 9th overall player in the country in 2022. Malachi Starks, who was an All-American. LT Overton. I mean, you scroll down and you get it. Like, so some of those guys are obviously not coming back to college football. But Kelvin Banks. But what if there are how many players from the class of 2022 are played 4 years, but didn't sign a pro contract? I mean, is it hundreds? Is it dozens? Is it thousands? I don't know. But it would feel like it's an exorbitant amount of work to comb through the entire class of 2022 to find guys who have the extra year of eligibility that didn't sign a pro contract. So I asked Lane, how are y'all even going about scouting for the possibility of this when you don't even know who's eligible? This is what he said.
System right now of how that is. So we just try to prepare, and if it's ruled that way and these guys can play and they can go everywhere, which I would think you have to, if someone's going to rule them that they're eligible to play and they get the year back to 2022s. In fairness to them, how could you possibly limit them? How can you make them go back to a place that they may not know coaches? The place may not want them. They may have moved on with numbers. And so to make them go back to one specific place or even not be able to move within a conference, that can't be fair, and certainly doesn't seem to be legal to be able to do to the kids, especially at a last minute like this. Where are they going to go? They got to go to one place and that place doesn't want them or doesn't even know them in some circumstances.
So I did ask an off-mic follow-up where I said, so are you literally looking at every single class of 2022 kid? Which I just pulled up Rivals. Rivals had a ranking for 2,120 players in the class of 2022. And Lane said, we prepare for everything. Which kind of tells me he's got some lackey up in that building who's looking up every one of those 2,120 players from the class of 2022 going, who's in the NFL, who played 4 years, who still has an extra year, and who might be eligible to come back. And they have a master list of who those guys might be, and they're ready to go call on them. Now, the thing that I think is pretty obvious is you're not looking for someone at every position. Like, you're probably not looking for a quarterback. You're probably not looking for a receiver. I think it's pretty obvious what you're looking for. It's the positions that you were looking for in JUCO after spring, and that's cornerback and that's edge. You lost Gabe Relaford. You lost Aiden Anding. Those are two spots where you're thin. And coming into this spring, into fall camp now with a guy like Damian Shanklin not practicing with the team. So not only are you down Gabe Relaford, you're also down Damian Shanklin. So you like your first two guys at edge with Jordan Ross and Prince Wilumon-Mielen, but your next two are Dylan Carpenter, who's a fourth-year guy who hadn't played, and a true freshman in Lamar Brown. Now, he's the number one player in the country, and we're really excited about him, but Jordan Ross was a top 10 player in the country and didn't make an impact in 2 years at Tennessee. So that's very clearly one spot where if you could add a veteran guy at edge, you'd be looking to do it, and corner is the other. Now, those are two positions that Lane did talk about today. Play number 4, please. This was Lane talking about Prince Wilumon-Mielen and Jordan Ross and the job they've done so far on the defensive line.
Yeah, Prince had a great day today. In the team periods, there were a number of plays disrupted by him in rush where series ended because of him, and that's extremely important. That's why, there's a reason if you study how people are paid in the NFL and drafted in the NFL, there's a reason for it. They figure out the rush in causes so much havoc, and a lot of times ends games. As much as anybody on defense, and arguably as much as anybody in the game outside of the quarterback. So it's really important, and a little more important than that level, but it's still extremely critical. And when we've been best, we've had really good defensive lines over time, and it's usually the case unless you're just going to outscore people, because the variables, aren't as big once you have really good defensive line, because you can take some things out. Your quarterback may be maybe not playing well, maybe he's hurt. You're on the road and it's really loud. Defensive line and neutralizing the game and stopping the run really takes those things so they're not as big a factor in the outcome of the game.
Lane tells you the answer to the test if you're listening. It's one of the things I've learned about him. If you're listening, he tells you the answer to the test. And we spent a lot of time in the spring talking about this, because when they were building the roster through the transfer portal and then going into spring, one of the things that I was told about this sort of manifesto that Lane and Billy Glasscock have is they put a valuation, not only every player, but position groups. Like, how do they rank the position groups and then assign a cap value to that position group? You'll put X percent of your cap to quarterback and X percent of your cap to offensive line and X percent of your cap to edge rusher and so on, and how do you prioritize those? Well, this staff prioritizes edge rushers and defensive line over cornerback. It's not to say corner's not important, but you just heard what he said. Edge rushers can sometimes end the game. So it's more important to pressure and affect the quarterback, move him off his spot in college, because they're less likely to make an accurate throw on the move and in the face of pressure in college than they are in the NFL. So they'll spend more money on the edge rusher, Prince Wilumon-Mielen, Jordan Ross, Lamar Brown, than they will on the corner. Yes, they retained Pickett and Woodland, two very good players, but they didn't go add anybody at corner in the transfer portal. Nobody. They're like, we'll let Aiden Anding and Michael Turner grow and develop. And you got Haven Finney coming in, who's I think Haven Finney is going to be an outstanding player. Like, I understand why we're not talking a lot about him. He's a reclass, early enrollee. He's a young guy. But I think Haven Finney is going to be outstanding at LSU. He just looks he just looks so obvious that he's going to be incredible one day. But he's telling you there where they're putting their emphasis on the defensive line. Now, he was asked about P.J. Woodland and how he's developed at corner. It's 11.
He's had a really good camp so far and progressed from the spring. He's been physical, has some really good receivers that are different styles. We have smaller ones, taller ones to go against, and has really stepped up his game, which has been a big challenge to him to do.
I think P.J. Woodland is a great, not that he needs it, but it's a great validating factor for Corey Raymond. I mean, P.J. was a 3-star, and Corey knows guys that he's looking for and how to mold them based on the skill set he's looking for to mold them and grow and develop. And it's really exciting to see those guys. It's why you're looking at Michael Turner and his growth and development. And you know, obviously Jakeem Jackson is still there, who Corey had at Florida and brought him over. And that's why I'm really excited about Haven Finney and what the future is going to be at that position. So interesting to look at those two spots, corner and edge rusher, the two spots where you suffered injuries in spring, the two spots where most likely, if the 5-for-5 ruling comes into play and you're able to add anyone from 2022 where you'd be interested in adding corner or edge rusher, but two spots where your frontline guys, Pickett, Woodland, Umanmiel, and Ross, you feel really good about your frontline guys. What you really need is depth. All right, we're right about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. It's Arco Power Systems, industrial Generac generator power. That's what they do over at Arco, and they do it all over the Gulf South. They're based here in Baton Rouge, but at Arco, they help businesses north to Little Rock, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio. Draw a giant circle. Anywhere in that footprint, Arco helps. Baton Rouge to Bossier, Harvey, Mandeville, Mobile, LaPorte, Texas, San Antonio, Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. Think about what losing power means to your business. Power goes out. What does that mean to your business? Well, Arco makes sure when the power goes out, boom, your business doesn't miss a beat. Industrial Generac generator power for your business. And they do everything turnkey. They sell, service, rent, install your industrial Generac generator power. Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com. Okay, it is after further review. Jimmy will be here in 15 minutes for Otter Locks. We do have preseason football tonight. We took it on the chin with the Otter last week for the Hall of Fame game. So would love to see the Otter get back to his winning ways. It's hard. I was listening to an interview Jimmy was doing with one of the handicappers out in Vegas. It is really hard to handicap the preseason now. Not that I guess that it was ever easy, but there were times where you could bet unders and things that were just trended very heavily. But the Otter does have a couple of NFL preseason plays tonight on Otter Locks, a couple of baseball plays as well. You want them, you get them for free over at louisianasports.net. And Jimmy will be here again in about 15 minutes from right now. Stick around. We'll continue. It's AFR.
After further review.
Love telling you about Watermark and Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Of course, Renaissance Baton Rouge right there on Bluebonnet. They call it Southtown, that area on Bluebonnet near I-10 across from the Mall of Louisiana and Perkins Row. It's beautiful, sprawling hotel. As a matter of fact, last Friday when I was in the hospital, my room was on the 8th floor of Our Lady of the Lake, and as I could look out of my window, I was looking from Essen toward Bluebonnet. I could see Renaissance Baton Rouge, the big, beautiful script R with circle around it logo. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge. You know, every Renaissance is unique, truly, in the literal sense. No two Renaissance hotels are exactly alike because every Renaissance is unique to that market. So, like, you walk in a Renaissance Baton Rouge, you'll notice, like, the carpet, those are like crab traps. You look at the sculpture behind the front desk, that's a 2-scale model of the Mississippi River and it's all of its estuaries. Great place for any event. Tallulah's a great dining experience. It's right there. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Sometimes the internet doesn't let you down. A lot of the Jaden Daniels memes and one-liners have been good today. Ray on the text line said maybe DJ Pickett should wear the number 05. I have also heard people suggest that Jaden might freak out when he sees that Lamar Brown is wearing 2 5s on his jersey. Of course, he wears 55. And maybe my favorite was that a buddy of mine sent me a text and said Jaden has sent a cease and desist to, well, I don't think I can say that company. It's a time-sensitive lube shop, if you know what I mean, that has a 5 in it. And it was pretty good. And then it just started a whole thing like Maroon 5 will now be just known as Maroon. The Jackson 5 will just be known as Jackson. 5 for fighting will just be known as for fighting, just taking out all the 5s. And maybe best was 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge will just be 104 ESPN Baton Rouge, the big X on the 104.5 logo. So there have been some interneting things today that have been pretty funny to bring some levity to the situation. But one of the questions I got on the text line was, someone asking, what is from William, who said, Matt, what does Jaden want? So he wants all LSU memories to be erased, and it'll be like he never played there, no pictures of him or memories. That would definitely hurt Jaden more than LSU. And, it's kind of a simple way to say it, but William is right. Like, when you think of it and boil it down practically, it just doesn't make sense. Like, who are you hurting by sending a cease and desist to LSU? Like, to stop using your stuff and promoting you? I mean, you're not hurting LSU in that respect. You're hurting yourself and your image and your legacy. And then it just, why wouldn't you want your stuff on display and your accomplishments honored and recognized? My hope is it's a thing where cooler heads will prevail. As Jaden, we mentioned it earlier, he put out an Instagram story today where he said he's been locked in on training camp. That's been his number one focus. He said, I have a lot of gratitude for my time at LSU, and I'm proud of what my teammates and I accomplished there. Noting, obviously, there are issues to be worked out between my team and LSU, and my hope is that it'll get done privately. But said my sole personal focus is on Commanders football. I realize the business of football is unique, and I trust this can all be resolved. I mean, that's an optimistic point of view, and I'm glad he put that out there. And I sincerely think he's right that it can be worked out, but it just needs to be worked out from Jaden's perspective. Like, he's the one who's on, like, DJ Pickett is going to wear 5. That's not changing. And he needs to be okay with that to proceed and not be bothered by someone wearing a number that's not retired. I mean, it's a pretty binary thing here. For what it's worth, DJ Pickett did meet with reporters today, and he opened up his media availability when he met with reporters with an opening statement on the number 5 jersey. This is what DJ said.
Wore the number my whole life since I was 4 years old. It was a number I was promised. And I wish Jaden the best. Good player, and he did real good here, so that's all.
It was a brief statement, as you heard from DJ Pickett. And as we went through all the particulars earlier in the show today, it was something that was promised Pickett during recruitment that I was told, really in no uncertain terms, that if 5 were not an option, DJ Pickett would not have signed with LSU. All 3 of it. And listen, like, I think that's silly. If you love a school and the coaching staff, and he wanted to play for Corey Raymond and play in the SEC and at LSU and all this stuff, and the jersey number alters a lifelong decision, like, I think that's silly. But I'm a 44-year-old man. I'm not an 18-year-old kid who's trying to make a college decision. And maybe that'll matter for him his whole life, or maybe he'll look back in time and say it wasn't really that big a deal. I don't know. He'll get there and figure it out, whatever. But with the conversations I had today, suffice to say that if 5 were not an option for DJ Pickett, he would not have picked LSU. And he and his family made sure that all of his finalists knew that. LSU, Miami, and Oregon. It was a prerequisite for all 3 of his finalists. And I really believe, and based on conversations I had today, that in this offseason, when DJ Pickett was going through his contract negotiation about coming back to LSU, the conversations were not about money. Now, he got more money because he's a really good player. He was a freshman All-American. But the conversations were not DJ Pickett saying, I want more money. The conversations from DJ Pickett's perspective were he wanted number 5. And so Lane Kiffin had a decision to make. Do you issue a number that is not retired and keep an All-American cornerback? Or do you let this guy potentially walk out the door over a jersey number that's not retired? It was an easy decision. I think it's an easy decision. Now, can LSU and the powers that be and Jaden Daniels and his team all get on the same page? That's a sincere hope that they can. So, as it develops, we'll certainly talk about it. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. Drink Evamore. Of course, you want to stay hydrated out there in this Louisiana heat. 95 degrees here at 5:43 p.m. Make sure you have delicious Evamore, natural artesian water. Y'all, not all water is the same. Not all water is the same. Not all bottled water is the same. Pick up a bottle of water and look at where you'll see, like, minerals added for flavor, or whatever taken out, whatever added. Like, Evamore is just natural artesian. It is spring water straight from an artesian well, piped right out of the well into the bottling facility. It's only filtered to get the sediment from the ground out of it, and then it's right into the bottle. So you're drinking a truly natural product. Go read some of the reviews. I love when y'all share photos with me. So if you see Evamore out in the wild, you're drinking your own, make sure you tweet a picture, post it on social media, tag me in it. Love sending those off to my friends at Evamore. EVAMOR. Great, available at great local retailers and online at evamore.com. Okay, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. We do have preseason football tonight. I'm fired up for it. If nothing else, maybe the most intriguing part of this schedule tonight is Fernando Mendoza will make his preseason debut. The Heisman Trophy winner, the number 1 overall pick. As we know, they've already, it's very likely Kirk Cousins will be the starter there at the beginning of the season for the Raiders. But there are 6 NFL preseason games tonight, 2 of them on the NFL Network. Packers at Steelers is at 6 o'clock, so we're here in about 15 minutes. And then a smidge later, it'll be this at 8 o'clock tonight on the NFL Network. It's Tennessee at San Francisco. You've also got Detroit at Cincinnati. You've got the Colts at the Patriots. And you've got the Chargers at the Texans. So lots of LSU, former LSU Tigers will be playing in the preseason tonight. Their openers, 6 games on the docket. It's time to imbibe on NFL football, even if it's, preseason football, and a lot of guys that'll be working as accountants next week that'll be playing in these games. But still, it's preseason football. It's time to watch and enjoy. I'll be doing that tonight as soon as we knock off and get out of here. But there is one more piece of business at hand. The matter, of course, is Otter Locks. So we'll knock out our final break. Jimmy will be here to find out what we're betting on tonight. Stick around. We'll just wrap up next on AFR.
AFR.
Shout out to Rev Fiber, a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Was there at LSU Football Ops today. Lane Kiffin doing his press conference. And while he's standing there at the microphone, you can see on the mic flag of the Lane Kiffin press conference is the Rev Fiber logo. So that's really cool that Lane Kiffin, and every time he's doing a press conference, you'll be able to see that Rev Fiber logo. REVFiber.com, RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com. That's a website. If you want to learn more, you can find out there for your home or your business. Remember, when we're talking about Rev, we're talking about high-speed internet. We're talking about home automation, security, phone, cable. They can do it all. It's Rev. Check them out at RevFiber.com, R-E-V, RevFiber.com. I love the security of an all-fiber network. You don't have to worry about the power going out and limbs knocking you offline. It's there. It's affordable. It's RevFiber.com. Better coverage for less money. That's what you find at Insurance Network of Louisiana. You can give them a buzz, 293-0450, 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net, Insurance Network of Louisiana. This is such an easy process, y'all. It's so easy. Like, they actually do everything. I mean, even in times when I have switched policies with Insurance Network of Louisiana, like they'll get me on the phone with the insurance company. I'll just give a verbal approval, and then I hang up, and they handle everything. They become your insurance agent, but they shop dozens of the top-rated companies in the world to find you better coverage for less money. For your home, for your auto, for your business owners. You want to improve your bottom line? Maybe I'm burying the lead here. Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450, 293-0450, or online at lainsurance.net.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. We got one thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
What's up, Matthew? How you doing today?
Wasting my day talking about a guy, an adult man, and a number on a jersey.
I can't believe this whole thing is happening. It's just so it's not important. I don't know. I've talked about it enough. I can't believe it's happening.
The crazy
I
thing.
really can't believe world-class athletes are worried about things that don't matter. That just do not matter. So anyway,
I did an interview with a DC radio station today, and obviously they're pro Jaden. And my point is, look, I love Jaden, but as a Commanders fan supporter, like, wouldn't you rather your quarterback be worried about training camp instead of his college jersey number?
I talked to Tim Murray today from Beeson, and he's from DC, and he's always leaned on me for some, our back and forth LSU and DC type of stuff, Dylan Cruz, other type of stuff like that. And no, he said there's a big chunk of fans are not happy with him either.
I believe it.
So, yeah, no. So, I mean, it's a non-win. And I'm glad you posted your stories today and say he personally reached out to LSU, contacted LSU. That is. I mean,
it was an important distinction. It was an important distinction because everyone assumed that it was Regina, and she has been involved. I don't think that would surprise anybody, but Jaden did reach out to LSU leadership, and that was the initial contact. Was Jaden making contact with LSU leadership?
All right, 3-1 last night. Let's get to
let's go.
Baseball.
Great
Very
night.
light schedule tonight because most of the games were played this afternoon. In Minnesota, minus about even money. They are creeping. We talked about that. They are just playing better ball as of late, much better than their overall record. And so we like them at home, basically at even money tonight. The Angels are playing Texas. Angels are completely out of it. Texas is a game and a half out, but Texas is not playing very well either, and they're going against a hot pitcher. Urania is a guy that I've been chasing, been backing as of late, and so plus 140 is roughly what they are. We're going to go with the Angels at home. Already won 2 of 3 of the first 3 games of this 4-game set, and then we got Cincinnati, the Bengals. The Bengals in the first quarter, Burrow's going to play a series or 2, so we're going to go with them. They did that last year. We had the 2 series. They scored 14 points. They won the first 2 games with him. They started out good, so Zach Taylor's going to do it again. He's going to play Chase T. Higgins, and also their newly acquired defensive player, Dexter Lawrence, over for the Giants. We're going to tie that up with Tennessee because Tennessee's playing everybody. First-year coach who coaches certainly, value the preseason, want to try and get a win, create a winning sort of culture there against San Francisco. Veteran coach Shanahan, he's got his own injury problems. They had tons of injuries last year, and they got tons of injuries in camp. They're not playing any of their starters, so Tennessee for the full game.
you're laying about 130 on that parlay. It is available at DraftKings.
Yep.
I know the menu is reduced a little bit for preseason, but that first quarter full game Tennessee parlay is available. And then the Cardinals, you know, understand why the Vegas is going up. Jacoby Brissett will start, and that Carson Beck is going to play again. And he looked really sharp last week in the Hall of Fame game. We're going to take the Cardinals +3 against Las Vegas.
All right, so 2 games on the diamond with the Twins and the Angels, and then in the NFL, the Cardinals +3, and then you got a parlay. It's a Titans money line parlay linked up with the Bengals Titans with the Bengals first quarter. That comes back at minus $1.33 right now over at DraftKings. Tomorrow, Friday at Rufino's.
Yes, indeed. Friday. Come, the games can't get here soon enough.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. All right, Otter, thank you. Have a good night. Good luck.
All right, good luck.
All right, man, we appreciate it. All right, it's Jimmy Ott. It's After Further Review. Remember, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. You can get it on podcast, YouTube. It's all there for you. Braxton, Paulie, thanks. Appreciate the hard work. Y'all have a great night. See you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends at FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake Championship Health Partner of LSU Athletics. FMOLhealth.org/LSU. FMOLhealth.org/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU together. We roar Saturday. Looking forward to being at the Capitol Gala Best Dressed. One of my favorite events in Baton Rouge every single year. And it's all benefiting the Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Institute. And when I tell you about Our Lady of the Lake, yes, we talk about the Championship Health Partnership with LSU Athletics. I've told you about my personal experience last week with my emergency care that I needed and my emergency appendectomy at Our Lady of the Lake. But it's also cancer services, stroke, heart health, pediatrics. If you want world-class care without leaving home, you want Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health Partner of LSU Athletics. FMOLhealth.org/LSU. FMOLhealth.org/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.